from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. right here on WOCA The Source.
Ocala's information station, 1370 WOCA. Ocala!
All right, just about 5 minutes after 11 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. Nice looking day. And our next guest has been with us before, Robin. I know you know that already.
Yep.
Where are you?
Wonderful
There you are. And boy, she has got a background. Let me tell you. Karna Small Bodman is on the phone. She served as deputy for U.S. Press Secretary James Brady. She probably hates this because every single time she's an established novelist.
Yes.
It's kind of crazy to get always. I don't know. See, if I moved on to something else, I would want, talk about what I'm doing now. I hope she doesn't mind. But she was with James Brady during the Reagan administration. I'm sure you know that, as far as the connection there. She explained domestic policy initiatives to the National Press Corps, and that's enough. There's just plenty of credentials here. She was with Pope John Paul II, right?
Yeah, pretty awesome.
That's pretty. And she writes books, wonderful books. She's a talented novelist. Had she never taken that path in her life, this path would have been successful as it is. Her new book is called Castle Bravo. It is a political thriller novel, although all of her experience probably lends to the information she has in the book and the authenticity, I guess you would say, of the stories that she writes. Castle Bravo is her new book. Good morning, Karna. How you doing?
Good morning. It's delightful to be with you again.
And are you okay
with it? Great day in Florida.
All of us radio geeks always talk about that stuff because we think our listeners are going to be impressed with that stuff.
Well, you don't need to talk about things that happened many years ago. As you say, the point is, what have you done for me lately?
But anyway, thank you for being on. Yeah, I appreciate the fact that you said off the air that you enjoyed this show, and we enjoy you as a guest. So it is.
This is great. I don't know whether I should. Basically, Castle Bravo and my books focus on national security and threats. But let me just start by saying, Happy Tax Day.
Oh yeah.
Happy Tax Day. It's an interesting. Also, the anniversary of the sinking of the Titanic.
Oh, please. I have a suggestion. Now, this is a little crazy, and it's not going to happen, but, I have an idea. If we could get a little movement going here, let's say, how everybody gets congressmen to take pledges, pledge for this, pledge for that.
Right.
Why don't we start a movement to ask our members of Congress, every single one, to take an honor pledge. Now, it won't cost anything, no money here. Take an honor pledge so that they do exactly what they foisted on the rest of us, to fill out their own tax return.
Oh, there you go.
Now, think about it. Don't you think that once they go through that drill, not hire anybody, no TurboTax, none of that, they have to fill out their own tax return, we'd get tax simplification pretty darn fast?
You would think so, wouldn't you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I just thought I'd throw that out there.
No, that's a good idea. Yeah, and the IRS is in charge, I guess you would say, of the healthcare stuff now too, right? So.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's right. Healthcare. There's a lot of stuff. If you think about updates just for today, before we get to books or anything, the problem is there's so many more taxes kicking in right now. You've got the Obamacare stuff. You've got taxes on the higher earners. You've got increases on investment income, all kinds of taxes that people are getting hit with. And at first they probably didn't realize it, but boy, when they add up the numbers, it's going to be shock.
I think Ronald Reagan would be proud of you.
Yeah.
Oh, please. Listen, it is
oh, please. I don't know if that's a good oh, please or a bad oh, please.
Well, I got a couple of factoids for you on tax day that I looked up, and that is, when you think of all the money that Washington's going to rake in from all of us taxpayers, whatever level, okay, you say, where does all that money go? Well, here's one. $427 billion of it goes just to pay the interest on the federal debt, which is way up the heck to like $17 trillion, okay? That doesn't help you or me or grandmother or Social Security or anything else, right? Okay, that's just the interest.
Right.
And then here's another one for you. Do you know that people that are on the food stamp program outnumber the women who worked full-time year-round in the whole country. Have you seen that one?
We had that this morning. Yes, we had that.
Yeah,
story.
that is so sad.
Well, did you know, Karna, that confident authors really don't even talk about their book? They talk about everything else.
That's right, because it's a great book. I mean, it is a great book. It's wonderful. Keeps the reader engaged.
Oh, you're so sweet. You mentioned President Reagan. Of course, I was so thrilled to be able to work for him for some 6 years. And so, a lot of my books, they're contemporary and slightly futuristic, but a lot were inspired, of course, by those things. In fact, speaking of futuristic, this book, Castle Bravo, has to do with a real threat to the country, but I got an email the other day from a friend of mine, and she said, short email, it said, Karna, reading Castle Bravo on the beach, got to page 150, and I thought, wow, are you prescient? I thought, what did I write on page 150? I don't know, I wrote it, because you write a book a couple years earlier, then it takes a long time to come out.
Sure, right.
Okay, wait a minute, page, let me read this to you, page 150.
I'm looking at it.
So the hero is trapped in a former Soviet republic, over there someplace.
Yes.
And it's actually Kazakhstan, but he's trapped because there's a lot of stuff going on, and can he escape? Can he get away? Whatever. Okay, here's what I write. He wondered if Russia would retaliate in some fashion. They weren't above taking on Georgia and the Ukraine. What would stop them from invading Kazakhstan on the pretense of protecting ethnic Russians living here? And God knows there are a ton of them all over the place.
Wow.
Okay, that's page 150.
Yes.
Now that's, I am so undone about our non-response to this whole Ukraine, those poor people over there. The guy comes over here weeks ago and says, please, just give us some small arms to defend ourselves, not your soldiers. Give us some help. And what does Obama give them? He gives them military rations. What are they supposed to fight off the Russians with canteens?
Yeah.
Give me a break.
So sad.
No.
And then evidently the Obama people thought that it would be too provocative to even send in the rations on planes, so they sent them in by trucks. We mustn't provoke those people.
Wow, you said so much. Karna, one thing, though, the work that you've done in the past does apply itself to your ability to predict the future.
Well, that's what
I truly think so. And
just look at what's going on. As I say, certain aspects, it's really weird. Certain aspects of all of my books have come true. It's kind of freaking me out. But when one time I got lucky, and my books were on the Today Show, and they said, instead of calling these books fiction, maybe we should call them faction. I thought that was a cool line.
Yeah, why not?
Why not?
But were they the Today Show? Were they politically opposites of you? I mean, did they?
Well, they didn't kind of get into that. They were just, they were just featuring books that were, in the bookstores at that time, and they had a bookstore owner on who was featuring my book, which is nice of her to do. I sent her an orchid plant. What the heck? That was great.
So if you're actually controlling the future with what you write, why don't you just write a happy ending somewhere? And
actually,
we all get along.
All of my books do have a quote satisfying ending. We'll put it that way.
Okay.
You have to get rid of the bad guys, right? But here the trouble is, it's getting harder and harder unless you decide that you're going to stake out a position in the country, that you're going to do what Ronald Reagan said, and that was peace through strength. Okay, that was a line we used to have, and these kinds of things, and it just breaks my heart to see how weak the United States is seen overseas. I mean, my Lord, people are looking around. I forget exactly who said it. I'm sure you remember that. Oh, so many years ago. I should have looked it up. The line about the only thing necessary for evil to succeed is for good men to do nothing.
Yeah, I don't remember who said it. Was it Benjamin Franklin? I don't remember.
No, I don't remember. But in any event, it's absolutely true. And when you talk about Castle Bravo, now here's something we all can do. The story was inspired by a conversation I had, a great conversation with the Major General who's head of our entire missile defense force worldwide. And he said, Karna, let me explain why we need more missile defenses, because we only have a few interceptors out by Santa Barbara. Nothing on the East Coast, nothing on the Gulf Coast, or anything, okay? He said, here's the deal. He said, let me paint a scenario for you. Let us imagine it's a few years down the road, and some group doesn't like us, some country, they're out there, and they somehow get hold of a small nuclear device. They're all trying, right?
Right.
Okay. And they also get hold of a delivery vehicle, meaning a missile you can strap it onto and shoot it off.
Right.
Could be as simple as a Scud missile, which, by the way, you can buy from a black market arms dealer for about $100,000. In fact, somebody tried to sell one on eBay. The FBI caught him. In any event, so the general said, now let's just imagine they have these components. And they're off one of our shores, could be down the Gulf, anywhere, and disguised as a fishing boat or something. You'd never find them. All right. And what they're going to do is they're not going to aim it at Tampa or New York or Los Angeles. No. What they're going to, which would be unbelievable, what they're going to do is they're going to shoot it straight up in the air, and it gets detonated in the atmosphere way up, 50 miles up or more. Scud can go farther than that. Now, what happens in that eventuality is, think of shock waves emanating from that. It doesn't kill you on the ground right away. No. Those shock waves are called an EMP, electromagnetic pulse. Now, what that does, it fries all the electronics on the ground. We would have no electricity grid, no internet, cell phones, no sanitation, refrigeration, transportation. He looked at me and said, Karna, it would set us back to the year 1910, and don't think our enemies aren't looking at it.
Oh, wow.
I love that.
Scenario of Castle Bravo. And the other thing, I heard a presentation on this just the other day by some smart folks from a think tank who they're looking at all this stuff. There are other sort of e-weapons, meaning electronic weapons, being developed. We have some. Our enemies have some that can work on a slightly smaller scale. But we also have solar flares that can do the same thing, and we're overdue for a solar flare which can knock out electronics. The last time we had a big one was way back in 1859 that knocked out part of our telegraph system. They all erupted in fire at the same time. So the point is, we need to, A, expand our missile defense systems around, with warnings East Coast, Gulf Coast, so forth. That's number one.
Right,
it's not that expensive. Number two, we need to harden the electricity grid. Lord knows we need to do that, and the utilities have been hanging back to spend the money, because they think the government should pay for it. But it should be done. It could be done. Number three, we need to get some manufactured backup transformers, because if they do knock them out,
that's right.
Remember what happened in Silicon Valley some time ago? The big story came out. The bad guys came and attacked the grid out there by Silicon Valley. And if you knock out transformers, we don't make them anymore. They're made in, Japan or somewhere. And it takes a long time. It could be a year before you got some.
Can you imagine? Wow.
We don't have any in the closet,
No, we have some at the pawn shop, but that's about it. I have a copy of Castle Bravo. Let me give it away to a listener. The rest of us have to go buy it. Call me if you want the copy that Karna sent us. 622-WOCA is the number. That's the WOCA Climate Control Source Hotline. Mm-hmm. They'll be controlling the climate, too, by the way.
Yes, they will.
Absolutely. By the way, for someone who doesn't maybe get the free copy, what your listeners could do, if they're interested in a thriller, go to my website, which is Karna, K-A-R-N-A, Karna Bodman, B-O-D-M-A-N, like your bod, KarnaBodman.com, and right there in the front, you can click, it's right there, and you can read the first 5 chapters free, and then say, oh, gee, I wonder what happened. Maybe you'll pick up the book, and if you don't like it, save your money.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, the way we do things.
It's a great book.
Go to the website. Is it available as an ebook?
Oh, sure. Ebook, audiobook, print book, it's all there. The links are right under the cover art, and my other books are there, too. And then also, by the way, if anyone's looking for a gift for someone, nice gift or something, they could shoot me a quick email. The contact is there on the website. And I'd be delighted to send them an autographed book plate, a little paper book plate. You stick it inside the book, and you've got a nice autograph.
That is a nice idea.
For someone.
Absolutely. Karna, always fun to have you on the show. Very insightful, obviously, and you have proven once again why people love your books. Karna Small Bodman, go to her website, KarnaBodman.com. Robin makes it easy. It's already on the WOCA site under guest list for today. Karna, thank you for being on the air with us today.
Thank you so much. It's always a delight, and whenever the next book comes out, it's finished. Maybe we can chat again.
You're prolific, by the way. It doesn't seem that long ago. Thank you, Karna.
Thank you so much.
All right, we'll be right back.
Bye-bye.
Habitat for Humanity of Marion County is a ministry dedicated to improving lives by providing affordable and decent housing. Help them help others by visiting the Habitat for Humanity Ocala Restore at 926 Northwest 27th Avenue. To schedule a donation, give us a call at 401-0075 and we'll come pick it up. For more information, visit ocalarestore.org. Habitat for Humanity of Marion County. Building homes, building hope, building community.
This is Wendy and Will of Dex Imaging. By now, you might be tired of hearing us talk about Dex. So instead of us telling you how much Dex can save you on your copier costs and how we can help your office be more efficient, we thought we'd let Judy tell you.
Hi, I'm Judy, the office manager of Graper Facial Institute here in Gainesville. We operate 8 medical offices, so I was looking for a document management system that would copy, scan, print, and share documents among all of our locations, but something that was within our budget. Dex Imaging recommended a Kyocera with their Index solution. It's been amazing. This machine does everything we need it to, including a direct scan into our current electronic medical record software. Dex even trained us on how to use it. Dex has been a tremendous help in making our practice and my job more efficient.
Thanks, Judy. And remember, call Dex Imaging today for a free workflow analysis to find out how you can save 20 to 30% on your copying and document management needs, just like Graper Facial Institute. Dex Imaging, 352-224-1816. That's 224-1816.
All right, 20 minutes after 11 o'clock. I would not make a good weatherman. I know the weather report said it was going to rain.
Yeah.
And I was second guessing the weatherman. I said, nah, it's too beautiful. It's not going to rain. Now look at it. Now look. So those weathermen, they know what they're talking about, right?
Yeah, they do.
All right, Robin, if you're a guy, and I know you're not, but if you were a guy and you wanted to have a cool name, you might want to name yourself Dash.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's Risk or Risky. It looks like it should be pronounced Risky. Lori Foster is on the phone, and she created Dash Risk.
Yep.
Dash Risk. I'm going to take a risk. That's the risque. He is 6 feet 4 inches of laid back masculine charm. A man who loves life and, of course, women.
Of course.
And this is a story not about him. This is a story about Lieutenant Margot Peterson. And she recruits Mr. Risk or Mr. Risky. I want to be known as Mr. Risky. Lori Foster is on the phone. This is going to be a fun interview. I believe Lori's been with us before.
Yep.
Her new book is called Dash of Peril, and there's the name, Dash. Good morning, Lori. Thank you for coming on the air with us today.
Oh, good morning. Thank you to you.
And where are you?
I'm at my lake house right now in Ohio.
In Ohio? How's the weather? I heard it was getting cold again up there. What happened?
I woke up to snow, and a year ago this time we'd had the same thing. Very nice weather. Woke up to snow, and I stepped outside and broke my elbow. So this time I'm not stepping outside. Staying in here till the snow melts.
Oh no! I'm guessing a broken elbow hinders your ability to write a book.
Oh, it certainly did. It was like dominoes. My contracts toppled one after the other. I had to have 2 surgeries on it, so I was 8 weeks in a cast.
Oh, no.
Messed me up quite a bit.
So is it Dash, Risky, Risque, or Risk?
Risk.
Risk. Okay. It's got an E at the end. Just wasn't sure. Well, thank you for being on there. Is the I know we're not supposed to talk about covers, but there's a guy on the cover. Is that Dash?
That's supposed to be Dash, but it's not really my vision of Dash. The publishers do a fantastic job bringing in models and doing a cover shoot and arranging things, and so often they hit it out of the ballpark, and I like this cover, and I think it's a very nice cover, but it's not quite my image of Dash. But he'll do.
All right. Robin was commenting on it earlier, too.
Yeah.
She wanted him to have no shirt on, I think.
Yeah. With a tool in his hand, since he's, like a carpenter
a tool
or
in his
something.
hand.
Yeah, he's one of those.
I can tell you why he has a shirt on if you want.
Yes, why does he have a shirt on?
Okay, I am very, very particular in that I don't write guys who wax their chests.
Oh, okay.
Natural.
But you can take a tax credit for that,
So many of the male models have that, very smooth, no hair on the chest. So if they bring in a model that is that type, they slap a shirt on them. For me.
Oh, there you go.
That's too funny.
So I have a few that have shirts off because they had a nice hairy chest. But if they don't, put a shirt on them.
Well, thank you for being on the air. Let me. How many books have you written? You're pretty prolific, aren't you?
I'm very prolific. I was trying to figure it out the other day because so many of them get repackaged and reissued and brought out again for newer readers that weren't reading me back in '96. It's fun to see the books from way back then.
Wow. But
trying to sort through the ones that were reissued, I believe it was like 82 that I've done.
Wow. 82.
Yeah, quite a few.
Wow. So do any of the characters occur in more than one book?
Well, not of their own book, but they're crossover books. Like I tend to write series. Dash is the fourth book in a series. So his brother was the first book, and you met him in that book. And his brother's police partner was in the second book, and Dash was in that one. And the third one was a bartender. He was the brother of the woman that the first guy married. So they all connect a little bit. So you meet them, but he wasn't the star in the first three books. He didn't star until his own book.
I love the fact that your book isn't just a romance novel. It's a thriller as well, and that really keeps the reader on the edge.
Oh, thank you. Yes, I like to write romantic suspense. Romance is in there, but there's always something some kind of danger that they're having to get around. And I tend to steal headlines straight out of our headlines. So, human trafficking and kidnapping and whatnot often comes right out of the headlines.
So does that element of suspense and thriller attract male readers?
I get quite a few. I mean, overwhelmingly, my audience is female, but I do get quite a few letters and emails. It used to be handwritten letters. These days, it's more emails or contacting on Facebook. But yeah, quite a few men.
I'm really happy that the actual tangible book is still in vogue because I know I've got a reader, but I do love holding the book in my hand.
I do too, and I was surprised that my books continue to do, they break it down on the bestsellers list now as far as digital and print, and I still do very well in print, which surprises me because a lot of my readership is younger also, and I think a lot of the younger people tend to go more for, the Kindle and the Nook type thing. But, yeah, they're holding in there. I'm an old gal, and for me, that's part of it. I like to hold the book.
Yeah, I think. Well, we've had a lot of authors in here who are young authors, and we've asked them the same thing. And I don't think it's necessarily an old young thing. I think it's kind of mixed. Seems like it to me.
Yeah.
Anyway, so tell me who Lieutenant Margot Peterson is. Tell me who she is.
Okay, well, she started out in the first book. She's a female lieutenant, very young, and I actually took that from headlines where I found how young a female lieutenant could be to get promoted because I wasn't quite sure, and borrowed that from some headlines. And she came in. She was brought in because the police department had so much corruption in it, and she's a very much by the book person. And so she cleaned out the corruption, made a lot of enemies along the way, and only has the most loyal cops that she completely trusts. So she kind of has enemies inside and outside the police force, which makes it, even more of an edge of danger for her. She's a very cold and businesslike person, so the cops that work for her don't really see her as female. They just see her as the one cracking the whip. And Dash, being not a cop, saw her more as a woman.
Ah, okay.
He kind of finagled his way in there.
But that's what she wanted, right?
Yes, she very much wanted it to be that way. She has some family issues in her background, and in order to maintain that level of respect she feels like she needs from her officers, she very much tried to be buttoned up and all business. And
she turns on the charm for him, or he for her?
He for her. Yeah, she was in no way looking for him.
Oh, really? Oh, so
right,
he's wooing her, and as far as the thriller part of this, so that's the romance part. The thriller part is them trying to do what?
There's an underground porn ring, which again is something I borrowed from the headlines. Women are being kidnapped, forced into these horrible situations, and often murdered afterwards. One woman manages to escape, and they find out what's going on, and they start tracking them down. But as soon as she does, she becomes a target herself. And a really interesting part for me in this book was that people were threatened with being doused in kerosene and being threatened to be lit on fire. And that actually came. I was at a doctor's office reading a magazine, And this had happened where a guy and some of his cronies had burst into a club. People scattered, but several people got caught in a back room. And this man did this. He doused them in kerosene and had a lighter. And one very brave woman attacked anyway because she knew if she didn't, they were all going to die. And she lived, and eventually the man went to jail. So, I mean, it was a fascinating setup, I thought, to think that someone would be brave enough to do that.
Boy, we live in a horrible world, don't we? I mean,
Evil.
we read some of these things when they're fiction, and we say, wow, imagine if that was true. And then you find out it was true. There was something like that.
I think we live in a wonderful world, and there are some scary, scary elements in it. And it's one of the reasons I love to write romance, because you get that guaranteed happy ending, which I very much believe in life.
Yeah.
And I think people overcome things. I love to see in real life the things that people have overcome and share some of that in fiction. But I think, overall, I think people are extremely good, and it's why it's so shocking when we see and hear about these horrible things that go on.
Laura, thank you so much for being on the air with us today. We've run out of time. I apologize for that. The book is called Dash of Peril. I have a copy. If you'd like it, call me. I'll give you the one I have. The rest of us have to go buy it. And you have a website. It's your name, right? LoriFoster.com?
LORI Foster.com.
Okay, excellent. Lori, thank you so much for being on there. We can go to any bookstore, any website. I'm sure that all of them have the book.
Very, very much so. Thank you
Amazon.
so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Lori. Fun interview. We'll take a little break, and we will be right back.
Want to start reading Marvel Comics? There's no better time than Marvel Now. Each week, look for exciting stories that provide a gateway into the Marvel Universe. It's one-of-a-kind kung fu action and award-winning writer-artist Carrie Andrews' beautifully rendered Iron Fist, the living weapon #1. Plus, don't miss all new heroes and villains and the start of Marvel's next big epic in Inhuman #1. All new Marvel Now. The biggest creators, the best characters, all new, all now. Find new series and starting points every week in comic shops, on the Marvel Comics app, and on Marvel.com.
And now, another golf confessional brought to you by Golfsmith. A man told his boss he was going to the proctologist so he could skip out of work and try the latest golf gear at Golfsmith. This gave him ample time to have his ball flight analyzed in a Golfsmith hitting bay and then have their experts custom fit his new clubs. It was a perfect plan because nobody wants to know about your appointment with the proctologist. Free custom fitting, part of the Golfsmith Fairway. Golfsmith.
Habitat for Humanity of Marion County is a ministry dedicated to improving lives by providing affordable and decent housing. Help them help others by visiting the Habitat for Humanity Ocala Restore at 926 Northwest 27th Avenue. To schedule a donation, give us a call at 401-0075 and we'll come pick it up. For more information, visit ocalarestore.org. Habitat for Humanity of Marion County. Building homes, building hope, building community.
This is Wendy and Will of Dex Imaging. By now, you might be tired of hearing us talk about Dex. So instead of us telling you how much Dex can save you on your copier costs and how we can help your office be more efficient, we thought we'd let Judy tell you.
Hi, I'm Judy, the office manager of Graper Facial Institute here in Gainesville. We operate 8 medical offices, so I was looking for a document management system that would copy, scan, print, and share documents among all of our locations, but something that was within our budget. Dex Imaging recommended a Kyocera with their Index solution. It's been amazing. This machine does everything we need it to, including a direct scan into our current electronic medical record software. Dex even trained us on how to use it. Dex has been a tremendous help in making our practice and my job more efficient.
Thanks, Judy. And remember, call Dex Imaging today for a free workflow analysis to find out how you can save 20 to 30% on your copying and document management needs, just like Graper Facial Institute. Dex Imaging, 352-224-1816. That's 224-1816.
Here are today's headlines from the source, WOCA. The Marion County Sheriff's Office is reporting that a 37-year-old Bellevue man was killed yesterday when he was hit by a freight train. The report identifies the man as James Bear III. According to the report, Bear was walking south in the middle of a railroad track. At the same time, a train was traveling north on the same track. The accident occurred just after 11 a.m. Witnesses say the train blew the horn more than once. Bear was hit and died at the scene. The medical examiner has Bear's body and will provide a detailed report to the Marion County Sheriff's Office Bureau of Investigations. At this point, the investigation is ongoing. Florida's Republican lawmakers are unholstering a series of bills in the state capitol this spring heralded by gun owners but opposed by sheriffs, teachers, parents, and some Democrats. The measures would allow firing of warning shots, arm school teachers, and allow residents to carry concealed weapons without a permit during emergencies. Advocates say the goal is to protect personal safety. State records show demand for guns has been on the rise. According to the Department of Agriculture, which issues concealed weapon licenses, the number of licenses issued more than doubled from 511,868 in 2008 to 1,249,516 as of March 31st. Lawmakers in Georgia, Idaho, Michigan, North Carolina, South Carolina, and Tennessee also are expanding their gun laws. The NRA's Tallahassee lobbyist and former national president, Marion Hammer, says the measures are all about Floridians protecting their children, property, and personal safety. The Jacksonville Sheriff's Office is reporting that a 49-year-old man whom is a veteran from the U.S. Marines attempted to help the victims of a vehicle accident when one of those victims shot him in the face. The veteran, identified as Ralph Tackett of Jacksonville, spent hours in surgery yesterday, according to his wife, Sandy Tackett. Mrs. Tackett told reporters that surgeons were able to remove the bullet from her husband's face and had to place 3 titanium plates in his jaw, adding that he will need more